Welcome back into Main Street Living. Now, as you may know, in our last segment, Joanna Kong with the Orange County Grantmakers told us about the video series that they partnered with Cox to create, focusing on 4 different aspects of the AAPI experience.
That's right, Danielle. So let's kick off the series looking back at the history of the AAPI community in Orange County, California.
Asian Americans have a long history in this country, starting from the 1800s, but even earlier than that. But most Americans know very little about Asian Americans from the historic perspective, or also about the contemporary experiences of Asian Americans.
We all know about the Japanese American internment camp. And Orange County, again, agricultural town, agricultural county, we have a lot of Japanese American who were recruited and brought in hope to replace the Chinese immigrant to do agricultural work. No, so they're drawn to Orange County. And when they were placed in an internment camp, many of them lost their home, lost their businesses, they lost their foundation. So that is the impact of Asian American trying to establish their foundation to be part of this fabric, to be part of this community. And over again, they were reminded that oftentimes they're being seen as an outsider.
Unfortunately, Asian Americans are still perceived as perpetual foreigners. Even though there are Asian Americans that have been here 6, 5, 4, 3rd generation, we're still perceived as just coming here more recently. Although Asian Americans have a history of being here in the 1700s and 1800s. Asian Americans are about 21% of the population in Orange County, so they're definitely transforming the county demographically. But Asian Americans live in various parts of the county. They're not just concentrated in the ethnic neighborhoods, and we work in all kinds of professions, and we're your neighbors.
At the very beginning of 2020, we're beginning to see trends of anti-Asian hate. And typically we receive about 4 to 5 cases of hate incident targeting Asian or AAPI community. Well, if you look back in the last 10 years, every year we get 4 to 5 cases. That's a small number. Beginning of 2020, we're beginning to get cases that come in 4 or 5 a month. And that sent an alarm to us, and we were beginning to see, hey, this might be a correlation of what's going on with the sentiment of anti-Asian in correlation to COVID-19.
Many Asian Americans felt that, that they could live their ordinary lives and be good Americans, but the pandemic really was a wake-up call for Asian Americans. They saw the level of systemic institutional racism that can be directed at them, and they also saw the everyday forms of racism that they endured. And it just made the anti-Asian violence that actually was in existence even before the pandemic, it made it very, very visible. We have to understand that anti-Asian racism and acts of discrimination were a part of this country's history, and they've never really gone away. They have been a persistent part, and they were just highlighted during the pandemic in ways that they were also highlighted in the post-9/11 era, in which Asian Americans were also the target of racial discrimination.
Orange County have come a long way of building an infrastructure to combat hate. And I'm very proud of that. I'm very proud to be part of an organization that we intentionally want to make sure that people have the right to live free of discrimination and violence. And whatever it takes for us to do, we make sure that our community comes together and stand up against hate.
Asian Americans are involved in all sectors of life in Orange County. So there are Asian American leaders in economic, social, cultural, political institutions in the county, and we're transforming the county in terms of the culture, in terms of the politics, in terms of the economy. And so I hope that we continue to see that in the future.
Well, Danielle, after watching that, I can say as a proud Black man born in this country, being able to empathize with the struggle of any fellow American that any fellow American has while living here, it's very important. So we must remember, although we are different, we all typically share common values.
Absolutely. And it's a common goal here. We're all in this together. So I like that's what he said here too. It's not just your problem, it's all of our problems. So
Yeah.
you can get more information or watch the full video series at ocgrantmakers.org.
All right. And up next, we got the true meaning of what success is when giving back. Stay right there.